Have you ever noticed how little attention we pay to the things we assume will always be there? A familiar voice, a daily routine, the walk to work, the home you've lived in for years. Most of life slips past us not because it's unimportant, but because it feels permanent. Until one day, it isn't. Imagine someone moving away from a town they've lived in for 20 years. For years they drove the same roads, passed the same coffee shop, saw the same trees changing with the seasons. Nothing about those things seemed remarkable. They were simply part of life, background scenery. Then comes the final week. Suddenly, every street feels different. Every familiar place seems worth noticing. Things that were invisible for years become meaningful overnight. What changed? Not the streets, not the coffee shop, not the trees. Only one thing changed. They realized they would not be there forever. We often assume appreciation comes from acquiring something valuable, but sometimes appreciation comes from realizing something is temporary. This reveals a strange pattern in human life. We spend enormous effort preparing for the future, planning, saving, optimizing, working toward the next milestone. And while we're focused on what's next, we slowly stop noticing what's already here. Not because we're careless, because our minds are efficient. Psychologists call this habituation. When something becomes familiar, our brains devote less attention to it. The first day in a new home feels memorable. A year later, most of us barely notice the walls. The first weeks of a relationship feel exciting. Years later, we can begin taking someone's presence for granted. This isn't a character flaw, it's simply how human attention works. The problem is that what becomes familiar is often what matters most. In Japan, there is a concept called mono no aware. While the phrase is difficult to translate directly, it points toward an awareness of impermanence and the emotional beauty that comes with it. At its heart is a simple but profound idea. Things are precious because they do not last forever. The concept became deeply associated with the changing seasons. Cherry blossoms are perhaps the most famous example. People gather to admire them not merely because they are beautiful. Many flowers are beautiful. What makes cherry blossoms special is that their beauty is brief. Within a short time, the petals fall. The moment passes. Mono no aware suggests that this temporary nature is not a flaw. It is part of the beauty itself. This perspective challenges a deeply modern habit. Today we are encouraged to preserve everything: photos, videos, messages, memories. We document experiences almost as quickly as we live them. There is nothing wrong with preservation memories, but sometimes preservation becomes a substitute for presence. We become so focused on capturing a moment that we stop fully experiencing it. A sunset becomes content. A family gathering becomes documentation. A vacation becomes proof that the vacation happened. And yet, years later, the moments we remember most vividly are rarely the ones we optimized. They are often the ones we truly inhabited. Consider an older couple taking an evening walk. Perhaps they've walked the same path hundreds of times. The route is familiar, predictable, ordinary. Then one day, one of them realizes something. These walks are not endless. There will be a final walk. Not today, maybe not for many years, but someday. And strangely, that realization does not make the walk less beautiful. It makes it more beautiful. Every conversation matters a little more. Every shared silence feels a little richer. Every step carries more meaning. Because nothing about it is guaranteed. Mono no aware is often misunderstood as a philosophy of sadness, but that misses something important. It is not about becoming preoccupied with loss. It is about becoming awake to value. Impermanence is not merely the reason things end. It is often the reason they matter. A season matters because it changes. A childhood matters because it ends. A conversation matters because it cannot be repeated exactly as it is. The awareness of impermanence transforms ordinary moments into meaningful ones. So how can we apply this idea in everyday life? One simple practice is to ask a different question. Instead of, "What do I need next?" ask, "What would I miss if it disappeared?" A relationship, a routine, a place, a person? Notice what immediately comes to mind. Those things may deserve more of your attention than you realize. The next time you're having dinner with someone you love, notice it. The next time you're driving a familiar road, notice it. The next time rain falls outside your window, notice it. Not because these moments are extraordinary, but because they are temporary. What feels ordinary today may one day become something you wish you could experience again. Perhaps the goal is not to make moments last forever. Perhaps their temporary nature is exactly what gives them value. So today, ask yourself, what in your life are you overlooking because you assume it will always be there? And before the day ends, give that thing your full attention, even for a moment.